His voice cracked, and his eyes welled with tears. Paul asked him what was going on, and Hal finally admitted it. Melinda had a brain tumor the size of a lemon, buried so deep that doctors couldn't operate. He knew there was nothing the doctors could do. Hal was devastated, and he had no idea how to tell his wife she was dying. Paul could see it in Hal's face. He was a broken man, clinging to the last bit of hope he had left. And at that moment, Paul felt just as helpless. Paul Edgecombe's urinary tract infection worsened, waking him in the middle of the night with unbearable pain. The next morning, he told his wife he was going to visit the doctor, but instead, he went straight to work. His presence was needed for the arrival of a new prisoner, William Wild Bill Wharton. Wharton wasn't just a killer, he was completely unpredictable, a man who thrived on chaos. As soon as he arrived, he proved to be trouble, resisting the guards with violent outbursts. After a struggle, Paul and his team managed to restrain him and place him in his cell. Paul, still in pain, tried to carry on, but John Coffey noticed his suffering. Insisting Paul come closer, John reached out, grabbing Paul by the bladder, and in an instant, a miracle occurred. Paul felt an incredible sensation as Coffey took his illness from him. Moments later, Coffey exhaled a swarm of black insects from his mouth, expelling the sickness he had taken. Stunned and amazed, Paul tested his newfound relief, finding that the pain was completely gone. That night, he returned home to his wife, who was equally astonished and grateful. In gratitude, she baked cornbread for Coffey, which he later shared with fellow inmate Edward Delacroix and Mr. Jingles, Delacroix's beloved mouse. Still grappling with the reality of what had happened, Paul visited Bert Hammersmith, John Coffey's defense attorney. He wanted to know what Hammersmith truly thought of Coffey. Was he capable of such a crime? Hammersmith, adhering to the legal principle that everyone is entitled to a defense, had represented Coffey in his trial. However, he remained skeptical of Coffey's innocence. He explained to Paul that some criminals could appear simple or gentle but still commit horrific acts. He compared Coffey to his own family dog, which had once seemed harmless, until it suddenly attacked his child. To him, John Coffey was no different. Paul, however, was starting to believe otherwise. One day, Edward and Mr. Jingles were invited by politicians to perform tricks. While they were away, the prison guards rehearsed the upcoming execution of Delacroix, with Percy Wetmore set to oversee it. After the rehearsal, Percy mocked Edward, causing him to stumble.